Let's talk about what it really costs to live here in Virginia Beach in 2026. Okay? Before I go through all the key topics of housing prices and taxes and things that I want to talk about, I'm going to go over something that nobody else can give you. Nobody else can give you this, all right? And that's my perspective. Because, see, about 5 years ago, my family and I moved here from New York. We lived in Long Island, beautiful Baldwin. I commuted into Manhattan every day for like 20 some odd years. Working in Manhattan was amazing. Getting to Manhattan, not so amazing. All right. We came here. I ditched the commute, ditched the high prices, and life is really, really good. If you are moving here from New York, Washington, Northern Virginia, that whole area up there, you're likely going to have a similar experience to ours in that almost everything is way more manageable. Almost everything is less expensive. Almost. If you're coming here from some other places, say in the Midwest or in the South, let's just say, Indiana, St. Louis, South Carolina, North Carolina, you might have a different experience, right? Because Virginia Beach is not the cheapest place in America. It's actually right average with the majority of the national average statistics. It's a little bit over on others, a little bit under on others. It's a nice place to live. We have a lot of stuff. We have a lot of beach. We have stores and restaurants and industry and government. You're paying for that. You're getting a nice place to live, but it's still way, way, way cheaper than some other places, especially here in the Northeast. So let's talk about home prices. So the median home price in Virginia is somewhere around $410,000. It's a window between like 405 and 415, depending upon when you run it. So right now we're looking at about $410,000 for a median home. You will get a nice home in a nice area for $410,000. Okay, let's take a look at what that might cost you. You get a $400,000 home, all right, with current rates of around 6.6 plus, 6.68, 6.69, depending on where you're looking at it. You are looking at somewhere around a $2,400 a month payment plus insurance. Right? Your insurance on the home is probably going to be about $200 to $250 a month. How does that compare to you where you are living? All right, real estate tax. Real estate tax here is pretty good. Virginia Beach has the lowest of the Hampton Roads area. It is about 99 cents per $100 of assessed value. It's pretty easy to figure out your taxes. If your tax assessment is $400,000, your taxes are going to be about $4,000. I was living in a house in Baldwin. It was nice. It was close to the highway. It was 1,300 square feet, and my taxes were about $14,000. Okay, if you go further east, you go into some nicer areas. Massapequa Park, Amityville, Copiague, Lindenhurst, Babylon. Changed at the Jamaica for the change, right? You could have taxes in the 20,000 plus range. That's unheard of down here, right? Unheard of. It makes housing much more accessible. All right. Virginia has no city or local income tax anywhere in the state, and that includes Virginia Beach. There's a state tax, and it's about 5%. It varies a little bit, but you can just figure 5% of your income is state tax. That's less than New York. All right. And there's no local tax, no local income tax for Virginia Beach. In New York, every street had its own tax, right? We talked about insurance before. Insurance for your home is running about $200 to $250 a month. It's higher than elsewhere in Virginia. Okay, why? Well, we're on the coast, and even if you're not in a flood area, we get a lot of wind and rain and storms that can beat up a house a little bit. So I think our insurance prices here are a little bit higher than the national average. They're higher than the Virginia average. They're not ridiculous through the roof compared to some other places, right? But they're a little bit higher. So figure you're going to add about $200 to $250 a month to your mortgage payment to cover your insurance. That's not flood insurance. Got to check. Lots of areas in Virginia Beach are flood zone. You got to add that flood insurance, okay? And even the non-flood zone areas, they flood a little bit. So if you're not in the flood zone, talk to your agent, talk to your mortgage broker, talk to your insurance agent and see if maybe getting some insurance policy might be worth it for you. All right, we talked about groceries already. Where does Virginia Beach actually save you money? All right, so housing, like we said before, is about 13.5% above the national average, right? So that $410,000 is above the national average, but it's way, way less than some of the areas where people are moving from. In $410,000 in New York, you get a shoebox without even like without a parking spot. Okay, but groceries are less than the national average. So we're doing pretty good. They're less than New York and less than the national average. Utilities, transportation, healthcare all run on average about 12% below the national average. And I can tell you right now, utilities are way less than New York. My Con Edison and LIPA bill in New York was through the roof. If I just turn on a light bulb, all of a sudden, like my bank would start chiming. It was taking money out of it here. Okay, it's expensive here, but I think energy is expensive everywhere. Doesn't even compare to some of those other areas. Transportation. I used to commute into Manhattan every day. Yeah, what's the train? $600 a month, and that doesn't include the railroad. I mean the subway, the tolls. You go over the bridge. They're $8-10 each way. Then now you got to go below 59th Street and you're going to pay like another $1 million. Get out of town, all right? If you are traveling here and if you work where you have to now cross a bridge or a tunnel, there are some tolls. They don't even compare to what some of us grew up with or are used to. Okay? So overall, very, very sharp, noticeable, better cost of living on your key things, your transportation, your energy, and your groceries. Okay, big change. If you're coming from someplace up north like we did, it's amazing. All right, military change for families. All right, pay attention for this for military families. Virginia used to have a $40,000 cap on your military pension, meaning that if you made $50,000 in your military pension, the first $40,000 was not taxable. You were only taxed on that $10,000 difference. They've removed the cap. Your entire military pension is now not taxable in Virginia. The feds, that's a whole different story. The feds take their pieces, whatever it is. I'm not sure what the military tax is on that. But for Virginia, they don't tax your military pension anymore. Not so bad. Makes this place a little more rises a little higher on that list. All right, sales tax. Sales tax for Hampton Roads, okay, is 6%. Again, coming from New York, it was 8.75%, right? Everything is more, but they didn't tax a lot of groceries in New York. Everything here is pretty much taxed. All right, so it's kind of you're paying less per thing, but you're paying more overall. The overall cost of living index. All right, the national average is set at 100. The cost of living index for Virginia Beach is set at 101, which puts it at about 13% above the national average. All right, which is driven mostly by housing because they said some of the other food and energy and transportation are actually lower than the national average. So that housing is bringing up that cost of living, and that housing is way under what many of us are used to dealing with. Right? So it said an estimated monthly cost of living is about $2,800 for a single person and $6,167 for a family of four. Obviously, those are just statistical numbers. You always have to beat those up, because even here, $6,167 isn't going to get you too far for a family of four, but you can do it. All right, the bottom line, Virginia Beach is not the cheapest place on the map, not by a long shot, but where else are you going to get this kind of life? Coastal living, all right, for much cheaper? You're really not. Now, if you are interested in moving here to Virginia Beach or considering it, give me a call, shoot me a text, drop something below this video. I'll be happy to set up a call. We'll discuss your options. We'll see what your situation looks like and see if Virginia Beach is the right place for you. All right. Know your move with Matt. I'll talk to you soon. Until next time, have a great day.